Travis, I'm wondering if we can talk about the levels of dimension in a character. So if we could talk about what a three-dimensional character looks like, and then one that's two-dimensional, and finally just a one-dimensional character. So how does one look flat versus a fully fleshed out, maybe three-dimensional character?
Sure, I'm not sure how to do 2D. That's an interesting concept. 1D and 3D makes sense to me. 2D, I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, okay, let me...
well, I guess 2D is technically a piece of paper, so there's that. So a single-dimensional character is somebody who's just kind of there to facilitate the plot. Like they're there to basically just be a moving piece along the way, where they're just an anchor for the story. They're usually somebody who the story is happening to, and they're not really making any choices. They're just kind of being pushed along by all the stuff that's occurring around them. A three-dimensional character is more like a real human being who makes choices, and some of those choices are good and some of those choices are bad. They're somebody who actually at least makes decisions about the things. You know, they're not somebody who is being pushed along by, like, if the killer's running after them, they're not just going upstairs because that's where the story needs to take place. You know, there's somebody who might fight back against the bad guy, you know, or somebody who may go and cower in a closet somewhere. You know, it's very character specific. You know, somebody who may have a different experience, you know, like have like the exact same story. If you have the main character be a hairdresser, they're going to make way different decisions than a character who's an FBI agent. And that would be a three-dimensional character because all the choices of what they're doing has to do with their experiences. 1D character would be somebody who if it was an FBI agent or a beauty salon person, it doesn't matter because they're just going where the story's going, you know? So, yeah, that's my best. Again, 2D is a piece of paper. I don't know what to do with that for a character.
Or maybe they're an FBI agent that has a cover as a hair salon, and then these women confide all these things, and they're like, oh, and then they get these tips.
Right.
Are there different tests though that when you look at the characters that you're writing and you say, you know what, this is too one-dimensional right here?
Well, I try to come up with. So I'm personally more of a plot writer than a character writer. But even in having a plot, you need the characters to make sense. I'm not going to I still need to find the character to have in this plot. So like if I want an alien invasion story, I am not going to write a character that could be anything just because all I care about is the cool explosions of having an alien invasion happen. And so I need to find characters that are going to make cool decisions that are cinematic based on what's happening to them. So if I want something that's going to be like high impact action where like the good guy is fighting back, I might have a soldier as the lead character, and they're going to make way different decisions than like just the general public is, you know. So they're going to be helping other people get out of the situation. They're going to be fighting back against the aliens. They're going to be plotting and scheming and coming up with whatever they can to survive, help others survive, and defeat the bad guy. Whereas if I want something that's just a terror-driven thing where we are like on the edge of our seats of, oh my God, when is this person going to die? I might have just a regular Joe Schmo who has no experience. They're just looking out for themselves, maybe not helping other people unless they can't help it. You know, who's going to be cowering in their car and they are probably going to die at any point. So at that point, it's like, oh, when is this person going to die? Versus the soldier, oh, when is he going to beat the aliens? You know, and because it's the same setup, because it's a different character, it's a completely different story now. So it's kind of one of those things of like, okay, if I want this story to be about to go a certain route, I need to find the character that helps that route along. It isn't just some random person, you know, based on what the experiences are. And even then my story, because again, I'm outlining, right? So in the outline, when I'm coming up with, okay, what character would best facilitate it? Now I have to think, well, what decisions is this character going to make? And how does that change the rest of the plot that I originally had in mind? And so going from my initial, like, one sentence thing that I write in my idea book, may be a completely different animal now that I have the character for it. Yes.
With your script, if we go back to 2005, which you said was loosely based on you, or it was really your story?
Right. It was a loosely based thing. Like the character was going through the same stuff that I was going through. Sometimes a little more dramatic than what my own stuff was, and a vastly different outcome from what my personal experience was. But yeah, like that script was loosely based on the situation I was in.
Do you feel that that character was three-dimensional, or do you feel like the writing
I feel like
since
that
then?
character was me, in a sense, and me kind of living out my own fantasy of what I feel like I should have done. The first 2/3 of that script was the character was as weak as I was in this situation, where he was letting the stuff happen to him and not really fighting back, and I felt like the stuff I was writing was basically like how I wanted to get out of that situation, but in real life I was just too like weak to do it. Like I knew what needed to be done, I just couldn't convince myself to actually do it. So I had the character who had the same situation as me, and he was just as weak as I was until he finally found the strength to push forward and do what needed to be done. And even then, like once I wrote that point, that was when I was able to like end that scenario in my own life. I was in an abusive relationship is what that was. And so, you know, it was almost like a reverse Lifetime movie. You know, there's a lot of Lifetime movies where like you got the woman who's being beaten by the man and stuff, you know, and following her trail. So it was the guy being beaten by his wife at the time, you know. And so you know, in real life, like I couldn't get myself to get out of that situation. I'm about to cry. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel bad now. I should.
No worries.
Okay.
So like I knew that I needed to get out of the situation, but I just couldn't get myself to do it, you know, because I was like low self-esteem at the time, so I felt like I couldn't do any better than that. And so I was in the writing, he, you know, rose above it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So he, in the story, you know, like found the power that I couldn't, basically, and rose above it, and then had like a much different ending, obviously, than just leaving it, because you know, I wanted it to be like kind of cinematic too. So there was like some thrillery stuff thrown into the third act of that, that obviously never happened in real life. But it was the same situation, the same sort of feelings, and it was kind of like, so that's why it was like therapy for me.
Yeah.
To get out of it.
Okay.